Before I get into a little bit about our where we're going, what Seer Impact is, I thought I'd just take a moment to let you know a little bit about us. And I'm sure you recognize a few faces here. We have been working with an incredible board, Deanne Weir, Rod Johnson, and Dr. Ian Opperman. And last year, Alistair Ferguson joined our board. So I'm very fortunate to get to work with global leaders who are helping us drive forward and realize the potential for Seer's impact and purpose. And similarly, I am very grateful for this incredible team. Uh, I'm sure many of you have had the opportunity to work with so many of these amazing people. Shelley, Belinda, and Anya in the analyst team working closely with so many of our customers. Angus and Jeff working with you all on contracting and operations and sales. And Andrea, Nick, and Ryan on our product side, on developing the product. And Andrea and Nick have been integral, as has Ryan, in the next development for the future of Seer Impact. This team is going to double fairly soon, so you'll see a lot of new faces coming in as we grow and scale, because we're very excited about the work that we're doing. And our purpose has always been to work with people who are changing the world by giving easier access to data and make data accessible for better decisions. So really it's data to action for people creating a better world, and that's all of you and all of our customers. And we want to and have always wanted to support people of all skill sets and backgrounds, everyone in the community, to democratize those rich resources and use data for better decision making so that we can together transform and better society. And this next iteration of Seer Impact really does help us take this mission to the next level. For us, technology is only ever about the people and our values. And so I thought I'd just pause a moment on the values that we as an organization, as a business, as an ecosystem live by. And that is to be in service. We are in service to the issues that you're working on, to society, and to the big transformational issues that we're trying to solve together. And we're a group of problem solvers, technologists and problem solvers who like to work in a way that's open and honest with our communication. But we're particularly interested about throwing out a net wide and inspiring what the future could look like. And we've done so much of that with many of our customers that I'll talk about in a moment. And we also like to make it fun. And for us, data is an incredible resource. We love what we do, and we love bringing that joy and the fun of it to so many of you. So with Seer, our goal is confidence, efficiency, and power. And you'll see those themes come through in the new platform as well, and the work for Seer Impact. So I'll get to that in a moment. But before I do, I wanted to shout out some of our incredible customers who we've been on a journey with from the very beginning. The Lighthouse Project in Shepparton, the Greater Shepparton Lighthouse Project, was our very first customer. In fact, the community of Shepparton welcomed us and helped us co-design our platform from the very beginning. We had many, many months working together in Shepparton, understanding how to make data more accessible and usable at the grassroots, and how to support collaborations and place-based work. So I want to thank the community of Shepparton, the Lighthouse Project, Lisa McKenzie for her leadership, and all of the team, Amy, who now continue to take it forward, and they've been our customer for a long time. More recently, together with Catholic Care Victoria and Greater Shepparton Local Council, the Lighthouse in this collaboration has launched their first digital report for the state of Greater Shepparton's children. And as you can see, they're aligning to the Erasing Nest using data that's in Seer and stories. They've also added in local data and shared data amongst themselves. So I really want to thank all our customers that we've worked with, in particular, the time and effort you've put in into helping us improve the product for what you're trying to do. I also want to acknowledge and thank our team and our First Nations organisations that we get to work with, in particular Marinuka, who was our first lighthouse customer that we worked with, and we started working together 6 years ago. Now, around a third of our users and customers are Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander organisations all around Australia, using data for shared decision making and within the context of First Nations data sovereignty, which we've built into the platform, enabling operate the ability to operationalize First Nations data sovereignty in any mode. And I want to acknowledge the Burke Tribal Council and Marinuka for their leadership in making changing the authorizing environment so that data that was not previously shared with community is now shared. And Palomar is a vision and a working model of how self-determination can be moved forward through access to data and data sharing. And then I also want to acknowledge our incredible uh, customers who we've worked with for a number of years on impact measurement, in particular Future Generation Global and Emily, where we were for the first time data activating a portfolio of not-for-profits in the youth mental health space. We're in the third year of data collection across all 14 different partners, and we are working on a number of new funds for Future Generation Global who want to also deliver social returns as well as financial returns for their shareholders. And similarly, so many of our other customers now who are measuring their impact, and I just have put up on the screen there WATOC, the Western Australian Indigenous Tourism Operators Council, who are using Seer for centralising reporting and measuring impact and really demonstrating for the first time the social impact of the tourism industry in WA for Indigenous people. We also work with so many public sector organisations, federal and state. We've had a long-term relationship with the Department of Social Services and Department of Education. And we also deeply work with a number of different agencies in Tasmania and have done some really remarkable work for data sharing, for using data to change policy, and aligning to the wellbeing frameworks in Tasmania. But importantly, and this is really critical, last year the Tasmanian government came to us and said to us, would you be able to help us track the commitments that we've made to the Commission of Inquiry into Child Sexual Abuse in institutional settings in Tasmania? And it was a commitment that the Premier had made and the Tasmanian government to adopt all of the recommendations in the Commission of Inquiry and make that visible and transparent and open for survivors and the community. So we built our first commitment tracking solution for the Tasmanian government within a period of 6 weeks and made all of the recommendations accessible, searchable, and visible on their platform, within Seer, embedded onto the Tasmanian government's website so that all people could see at any point in time where all of those commitments are up to date. And for us, this was a really critical moment where we started to see what if it was possible to make visible all commitments that public sector, private sector, and community was making and link those commitments to the impact data. How could that change how we were working together to solve the problem of improving outcomes in Australia? So it's a very important time, and we started researching and better understanding this problem. Before I get more into the problem and into the new platform, I want to acknowledge our incredible network of partners. We have technology partners as well as advisory and consulting partners. So Social Outcomes and Forsyth Clement, we work with to support the data activation of outcomes measurement work that they do with their clients all over Australia and around the world. We work with strategic grants who are supporting not-for-profits and philanthropists with grant seeking and grant making. we work with Humans of Purpose, and this is a new partnership where Humans of Purpose will be working with our analyst team, where we're supporting women who have left family violence situations with employment to work in the Seer platform and do analysis and insight building and dashboard building for you, our customers. And this is the first time we've built a partnership like that. And we're very excited as we go forward with that. And we have a number of projects for very large organizations, large private sector organizations, where we're going to be working with Humans of Purpose in supporting those women to do the data analytics work within our platform. Additionally, we'd like to acknowledge and thank 8Wire for providing us with the opportunity to connect into more than 30 systems. And so this has been quite an important step forward in the platform, as well as we connect to data automatically and make that data live from multiple different systems, whether it's CRM, case management, and a number of others. So let me just talk a little bit more about this problem that we're solving. So as you know, we set out to solve the access to data problem, being a disconnected and very overwhelming problem to solve for. And in many ways, tracking commitments is very much the same. So how do we know if commitments that are made by government or industry or collaborations are met, and how do we know the impact of those? It's actually quite a huge source of frustration for all of us because we align to commitments. I mean, obviously, we've just seen, we've just had an election, a number of commitments. We align to those commitments. We want to see action across our community, but we don't know where things are up to. It's not transparent for us. And there are so many important issues where commitments are made, but there's no accountability or there may not be monitoring, and it's certainly not in the moment. Things that I think of and that I'm very close to are things like closing the gap or reconciliation action plans, the National Plan to End Violence Against Women, commitments to the early years, and certainly the outcomes of the Royal Commission. We are working with and speaking with the Royal Commissions around how into family violence and sexual violence in South Australia, into how to ensure the availability and transparency and accountability of all the commitments and recommendations that come through out of those are actually adhered to, because that is massive reform and systems change work. We want to have that transparency from a community perspective. It even gets bigger than that. For example, a project that was brought to us just a couple of days ago in New Zealand, Aotearoa. One ministry has to track 14,000 commitments made in treaty settlement processes with 80 tribal groups over the last 20 years. This involves a range of government agencies and local government, and they're involved in meeting these commitments. But the issue is, it is so confusing, it's disconnected, and at the moment, a lot of it is held on Excel spreadsheets. It's really hard to know how things are tracking across multiple agencies. And we also know in bureaucratic processes, and perhaps some of you may already experience this, it can take months to report on where commitments are up to. And so really for us as a community, we see that this is not good enough, and that this lack of action leads to a whole range of complications. It leads to a lack of trust, and it also leads to complicated regulation, which is onerous. So what we're aiming to do is make it easier for any organisation that's made a commitment, either in a collaboration, working in place-based work, in government, in the private sector, to track and monitor those commitments and link those commitments to the social impact data to then report on that and make that transparent to the community, and also transparent up the chain to ministers, to head to decision makers. Seer Impact is about transparently and securely connecting all of those commitments, monitoring those, and connecting the data, as I said. And so, what that means for us is that our company and our product is evolving. Um, Traditionally, Seer Data and our community led work has sat across place based community organisations, not for profits, First Nations, and public sector. And now we see that there's really two parts of our business: Seer Communities, which represent around half of our customers, and Seer Impact, those organisations that are measuring impact and aligning those impacts to commitments. And those modules that we're building in the platform are interchangeable. You can start with one and add on another, which I'll get to in a moment. So essentially, this is how we think about it. We start at the source in community. Community owns their data, can share that data, can aggregate it to be able to measure impact, and then can control the governance of that data. And then we send that data through up to align to commitments, whether that is for government commitments, organisational private sector commitments, or policy and board member commitments. So as an intermediary, we're enabling the data through that, what we call the chain of custody, to be able to make all of that information available at the different levels it's needed. So before I get into the actual product itself and roadmap, I just wanted to stop for a moment. Have there been any questions at all? Not yet. All right, so thank you. I'll just jump back in. What I'm going to do now is talk a little bit about what we're building and what we've already built and our roadmap. So you can access this at any time to see where we're up to on seerimpact.ai, which is our website. And you'll be able to see that if something's green, it's active and live. If it's in development, it's yellow. And if it's blue, it's coming next. We really value all of your ideas. Every single part of this work is an opportunity to innovate. And we'd love to hear what you think and what you believe is important next. So, as I said earlier, this didn't just evolve overnight. It's been the result of a number of years of work and a lot of learning and co-design with you, our customers. We've been understanding the gaps in impact measurement and commitment tracking. And as I said, our goal is to connect all the dots between commitments, outcomes, and data in one solution that's modular. And so you can see these are the modules here in the platform. Modular, but also integrated so that everything can flow when you want it to. And like I said earlier, we're building the product in stages, and we invite you to come in and help us beta test some of the new features that we're building. So I'm going to go through specifically some of the flows, and this one I'm going to start with commitment tracking. So as I mentioned earlier, we already helped Tasmanian government track and report on the 191 recommendations that came out of the Commission of Inquiry into Child Sexual Abuse. And we're building on expanding that vital capability to make sure it's more automated, accessible, and importantly, auditable. So whether you're in government, you may be reporting on and unpacking commitments, you might be in a corporate foundation, you may also have a strategic plan if you're a not-for-profit. This module will help you define your commitments in a structured way, assign accountability and due dates across your organisation or across agencies or collaborators, track progress over time, and generate internal as well as external public reports on the delivery on how those commitments are going. It's flexible to handle the different types of commitments you might have and frameworks of commitments like closing the gap or sustainability goals, but it's also powerful enough to roll a suite of commitments up into a portfolio level view. So how it works is you start by navigating to the management module. You create and manage commitment registers, and they're structured collections of commitments. Each register is configurable, it's auditable, and you're able to define the commitment fields and set data types for each. Once your register is configured, you can download an Excel, populate it, or you can populate in platform. For each commitment in your register, you allocate an owner, set tracking information, expected due dates, and elect a progress tracking method. So, what this really means is those that are accountable in your organization, in the corporate, in the private sector organization, in government, they are, we're able to see all the commitments that they're responsible for and how that is tracking at any given point in time. The platform is going to be powerful and will detect when you have duplicate or near duplicate commitments across registers, meaning that organizational units who have the same objectives can consolidate efforts for impactful outcomes. This is something that we've learned through our work with the Department of Health in a state jurisdiction, where they had hundreds of commitments that they'd made aligned to Aboriginal health, state and federal commitments. But they realised that many of those commitments really meant the same things, but they were unable to track those. So by using our tool through AI and secure intelligent commitment register solution that we're building, that structured data process will enable that cross-team collaboration, performance tracking, and alignment with compliance standards. So that's the first part, and very exciting because, as I mentioned earlier, this is a build-up of commitments across organisations, across entities, or across collaborations. The next one is impact measurement. Impact measurement module is an evolution of our experience in the impact measurement space. We know that through defining and tracking impact, it can be different for many organizations. And this module helps you define your own outcomes framework, but we also support custom frameworks or indicators like the SDGs, like closing the gap, the erasing other outcomes frameworks, wellbeing frameworks, but you can build your own outcomes framework on your custom indicators. You can measure progress against baseline with that this module. You record change over time using both qualitative and quantitative data, and you can visualize improvements in ways that are meaningful and story rich. So we're bringing not only flexibility of the Seer platform as well as rigor into the same space. And the goal is to let you track what matters most for what you're trying to achieve. So from here, you'll have the flexibility of defining your own metrics, building on that, and customizing those metrics. You'll have the opportunity to enable, if you choose to, AI recommendations, and the platform will intelligently suggest metrics for your linked commitments and for the targets and benchmarks that you might want to track through your outcomes data. Each metric will be linked to the data source and can be mapped to the specific variables or columns in a data set. So again, this is around auditability. Like all other elements of the platform, you'll have access to a granular access management solution, meaning you'll be able to configure who gets access to what within the platform and who within your organization can access the metrics and data before you do your reporting. Your metrics for impact measurement can be used as standalone, but when it is integrated into your commitment management module, you can select one or more commitments on the metrics, and you can also share that with other organizations. So this is a robust impact measurement tracking solution where you can define your metrics, draw from standards, link directly to live data, and connect metrics to your organizational commitments. I guess you could say that's the core of the elements: the commitment tracking, monitoring, and reporting, and then the impact measurement. Of course, what's really important is performing analysis, generating insights, being able to visualize those insights. And many of you are already working with our tools. You'll be able to um, build in dashboards to surface trends and red flags. And if you're already familiar with the Seer platform, you'll be able to use custom filters and segmentation, and you know that we're very passionate about making all of this accessible. So through the Explore Data tool, you can start by selecting a data set. You'll be able to analyze a metric that has been linked to a data source, and then you can choose how to analyze the data through custom visualizations and a whole range of new analytical tools. What's important here as well is that we're building in statistical insights. So the ability for now statistical analysis to be done in the platform, which many of you have been asking for a little while, and we're thrilled to be able to bring this to you. Seer Impact will highlight the trends or flag anomalies. And then your insights then, of course, as we know, become a story. You'll be able to generate AI-powered summaries if you choose to turn the AI on through your data trends, or write your own context if you'd like to. So we're really thrilled about being able to bring in a number of AI applications into the platform as well. So, of course, then the next part is reporting, commitment reporting, and also storytelling and dashboarding. So once all the data has come through, you've got your commitments, you've linked, you have your impact measurement and your metrics, and your data is connected, then reporting on that becomes really important. And so working through how you want to report and to whom it is part of what you'll be able to do here in SEER. You're in control of what you share and when, and reporting becomes a byproduct of the way you work. I know many of us who are doing reporting on to government, to philanthropists within government, within private sector organisations. Reporting can too often be a mad scramble at the end of the quarter, or at the end of the reporting period. So we eliminate that, and we focus on being able to make reporting automated for you. So there's really two types of reporting. There's the commitment reporting. Commitments created via the commitment management process, highlighted earlier, can be compiled into a dynamic, interactive digital report. And then from this module, we can create new reports, configure content, choose commitments from one or more registers if you want to focus on those, and then search and filter through the report. So when integrated, linked metric data can also be displayed for your commitments. And so what this means is you might choose to find your themes in your commitments across multiple different registers. You might be able to search on and report on family violence related commitments, and they'll all come together into a single report, even though they may be sitting across multiple different commitment registers and sourcing different data. So we want to be able to be flexible with reporting because of the types of work that you'll be doing with multiple different stakeholders as you move forward on the issues that you're working on.
Christy, we've just had a great comment from Lisa McKenzie in the chat saying that this next iteration will help ensure the accountability that is often lacking despite best intentions. Looks like a game changer, Christy.
Thanks, Lisa. Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And what we've heard is that, especially in community as well, and in shared decision-making processes, the lack of transparency and accountability can be where things fall over, and it requires leaders to hold each other to account. But if leaders are able to use a platform like Seer Impact, where it's transparent, then that accountability is inherently built into the process along with transparency. So, yeah, thank you, Lisa. I agree, and I'm excited about what it could bring and offer. The other type of reporting is storytelling dashboards, and many of you will already be working with our storytelling dashboards, which is, very exciting to see the ability to bring in the data, the story, the qualitative analysis. But with AI now as well, we're going to be bringing in a number of different and additional features to support quantitative analysis. And as I said earlier, that community voice and the ability to bring that in is going to be exciting for us as well. And then finally, how you configure and collect data, which is really core and foundational to the platform. Our approach is to really, as you know, as everyone who's worked with us, meet people where they're at to support how you can gather data for your impact measurement and outcomes. We're building in application surveying capabilities, already have integration into existing systems, and simple templates in aggregate and unit record level forms to access the data. So we don't want this to be a burden, and we continue to improve on this. We're designing for ease, accessibility, automation, as well as the ability for you to set your data governance framework and support data sovereignty, especially important for First Nations organizations and their model of data sovereignty and governance. So I'm going to pause because that brings me to our opportunity for questions. I'm really excited to be able to bring this to you. We have been working on it for a long time. We, as I said earlier, we're really grateful for all of the learnings that we've had along the way with you all, and especially excited about where we think this can go. Uh, from my perspective, I'm so grateful to get to work with organizations and people who are changing the system and improving outcomes in our country and around the world. Seer Impact will be available, and it's very exciting for us that we'll be working in the EU and the UK. We've already responded to tenders in the EU, and so we're really thrilled to be able to open up our doors shortly in the UK and offer Seer Impact. And additionally, we are working on projects in New Zealand. So we see this as an opportunity for us to go and deepen our purpose and our scale, and the potential to work with so many people around the world who are changing the world. We see this as a really important tool for helping people feel confident and rebuilding trust in their work, particularly if they're working with government or private sector or community. And we invite you to help us with beta testing our new modules. We do have a customer advisory council if there are people who would be interested in joining that. And we'd love to hear from you if we can work together on this. If you have a example problem that you'd like to solve. So I'm going to stop there and invite questions.
We've had just a couple in the Q&A, Christy. We've got both Q&A and chat functions, so I'm scanning both of these. One from Christina Jaron, which says, looks great. Apologies if this has been covered. Can the platform integrate with CRMs, for example, Salesforce?
Yes, it does. And we have a connector provided through our partner Aguirre into Salesforce, and we are connecting and pulling data, aggregate data out of Salesforce solutions for a number of our different customers, including MTC. And it's a really fantastic use case. So MTC is an employment services organization. They are providing data to their teams in the front line, but also to understand with open data the context of what's happening in employment regions and how they're servicing, and the CRM data, the data for that we're pulling in through the CRM is helping the teams see how they're addressing the needs in their community and being able to pinpoint those needs more effectively.
There's another one from Emily Dalton Christie. Is there an ability in the new update to export dashboards or new reporting module to PDF for boards that prefer paper reports?
Thanks, Emily. That's been a question that a number of customers have asked us. We can actually export them, and in the new platform, you will be able to build reports and export in PDF. So, yes.
Another question from Justine Sharp, and this might be a general one in terms of the um, platforms that the system can integrate with, Christy, but this is specific to the Notion platform. Can the system integrate with Notion?
That's a good question. I don't think we have a connector yet to Notion, but I would think that that would be something we could explore and come back to you on.
Question from, or a point from Shelley Hartle. Thank you for the highly informative presentation. As part of an organization that advocates for increased consumer protections, including in credit and debt products, and specifically for First Nations consumers, there's interest to understand if we work within the space of consumer data specifically.
So we work in the space of aggregate data, and if that is consumer data, then yes. But we do not work in PII data, private and individual data. So I would think we do if it's aggregated.
Thanks for the question, Shelley. Another question from Hannah Woodward. Is the platform able to integrate more qualitative impact data, such as case stories, case studies, or similar?
Thank you so much, Hannah. Yes, the new platform will handle qualitative data. At the moment, in the Seer platform, you can add stories, you can certainly add case studies into your dashboards and stories, you can store them. In the new Seer Impact module, we are going to be able to handle qualitative data in a more effective manner in ways that we haven't been able to before through AI tools, but also being able to bring in and store that data. One of the challenges for us has been that we haven't analyzed qualitative data in the platform. So we're looking for ways to make community voice more accessible and qualitative data in that sense.
Thanks, Hannah, for that question. There's another one from Christina. Does the statistics function include tests for statistical significance?
Thanks, Christina. Yeah, will do. And certainly we'd love to, if you're interested in testing that feature when it's ready in beta, we'd love to do that with you. And yes, it has been a question that our customers and community has asked us for through our research, and that's what we're aiming for.
No further questions in the Q&A or the chat, Christy, at the moment.
Fantastic. Well, thank you everybody for joining us today. Again, thank you for coming on this journey with us. We are very excited about the next phase. The Seer Communities platform remains, and we continue to build on that and enhance that. And the Seer Impact platform will be our enterprise grade platform for the commitment tracking, monitoring, and reporting. Some of the features and AI tools in the Seer Communities platform will be integrated, and then we will be interchangeable as modules as well. We're really thrilled that you took the time to hear about what we've been doing. Again, I invite you to come on the journey with us. We do have a couple of open spaces on our customer advisory council, so we would invite people to reach out to us if you are interested. That council is about helping us define the roadmap, refine the roadmap, and ensure that we're really meeting the needs of our customers. We invite you to be part of our beta testing, and we invite you to work with us as we build the next version of the platform.